this is probably the most important thing. It's something I worked on myself just the other day. And if there's anything you take out from today's workshop is this. And I'll circle around this just 2 more times. Okay. The source code of the bomb out day. It's phenomenal, and I've seen this for so many years, when your bomb out days are generally preceded by a lot of the same circumstances of events, of your psychology, of a pattern that you're convicted of. My bomb out days are a lot of times when there's a technical pattern that I think is huge, and then all of a sudden everyone else tells me it's huge, and then there's some little FOMO that maybe creeps into me, and then the market rushes to it with high volume and high volatility. And I get on it, it smashes through low, and it pumps back up. And then it's clearing me out. And then what happens, in that very next second, I've just paid up, and it comes back to that low. I strike it again with 3 times the size, and then it whips back in my face. And in that 1 minute, I've striked it 3 or 4 times. All it's done is just one guy on the other side laughing at me. I'm the little liquidity operation. Thank you for hitting into me, and I'm going to start taking up the page later on. But that 1 minute. So what do you have to do? So you have to start building your biggest loss in the week, where you went from up to down. If you can locate the source code of what your thinking was and build deep awareness, man, this is where Gabriel Gandini is phenomenal. He does not, Josh Waitzkin talks about it in his book, The Art of Learning, and about the greatest Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. He talks about the person who repeats the mistake, who learns from the mistake the quickest, is a person that grows the fastest. But as humans, we repeat mistakes so often. We keep on repeating the same mistake, and we keep on repeating that tilt. And what happens, we build the scar tissue, and it starts becoming so hard to habitually reverse engineer whatever we've created in this psyche of ourselves, that it becomes very hard unless we have appropriate tools through visualization, which we'll talk about now. But on your biggest down days, or the days that you give your entire day where that wasn't, you lost objectivity with the market, if you can reverse engineer the source code of that and address it with certain tools, which we'll talk about now, man, you will not only save yourself incredible amounts of money, but you give yourself an opportunity when your opportunity is in place that you make money. But have a concerted effort. Some people don't have this issue. Some people actually don't take, if they don't understand, they don't take setup, fine, and those people are great. What they have to work on, maybe, is learning how to take more risk, and that's a technique they have to work on. So I'm not saying this is for everyone, but the ones who are more swashbuckling, who like trading, who like taking on risks, who go on tilt more often because they're more active traders, this is very important for you. And then on the contrary, those who don't, who wait for the thing, well, when your risk comes, maybe it's your ability to shift from 1st gear to 6th gear. And what was, when we had the interview with Demetris on the weekend, his ability to shift from 1st to 6th gear is one of the, he could be on the worst run, he could be on where he hasn't made money for a week or 2, and also an opportunity comes, he goes from 1st gear to 6th gear so quickly. With some people, they've been on a barrel and they can't put on that size. The reason why, he's created this visceral pain inside of himself of the opportunity missed. Like he counts afterwards, and that pain that he inflicts, and it's what Josh Waitzkin talks about, that little tool that you create within yourself. If you make something so painful, so visually painful, you won't repeat that again. So what he does for himself on opportunities, if there's an opportunity and he doesn't take on the risk, and the market goes X amount, it's so painful for him because he actually counts the ticks afterwards. He imagines how much money it would have mean. So he is a little bit performance focused, okay, as opposed to him. But that's a technique he uses so he can shift gears, because that's also a very hard thing for a lot of people to do, to be able to be on a bit of a run and then strike, as opposed to be on a bad run. A lot of people do is they're on a bad run and they strike just because they're on a bad run, and it becomes a hopeful trade. And that's what the majority do. So yeah, and then the risk out day, a function of your up days and weekly, monthly performance. If you're one day, if you can only make 1,000 on a month, are you going to lose 1,000 in a day if your ability? So just think of that. Go look at your maths. Especially the guys who know, the first 6 months of your career, this isn't that important. But say after 6 months, it starts becoming important. And start understanding the mechanics of your psychology. The reason why people are able to size up and not size up is we talk about there's always two errors. There's always two components in an error. It's either a technical deficiency or a psychological deficiency. And so when you develop the skill set, for you to scale up your size, it's normally the psychology is holding you back. In the beginning of your career, you have to try and develop yourself through your technical proficiencies. Okay, so I want you guys to think about this month. The maths of your performance, especially the guys who've been with us 6 months plus. Meaning, guys, just remember this when you get to 6 months. Okay, so, and this is just one of the kind of techniques that I just want to share for more the people who have a propensity to go on tilt easier. And who here goes on, feels that they can go on tilt, okay, obviously because I know a lot of you guys, you've been working it, who here goes on tilt, do you think, at least once a week? No one, eh? Okay, so let's see, like, put your hands up so I can see. Okay, so at least once a week. Okay. Okay, I mean, I used to go once a day, but or 3 times a day. But so if you are this deep loss in investigation, your biggest down day on the week, if you're not on the weekend exploring the source code of what there's thinking behind it, you're going to repeat the same habitual pattern over and over again. Or if, on the converse, if you don't go on tilt, but you don't have the ability to put on the risk on your trades that you like, then you've got to investigate that in the moment. They're both the same thing. So on that weekend, think about the trade that was your biggest conviction trade, and were you able to put the size and hold it? And if not, what was the reason? What led up? Because there's always something that leads up to something. There's always a preceding influence, preceding factors, cause and effect, yin yang, all of it. There is something that precedes it. Okay. So whether you didn't take, so every weekend, that should be part of your practice this next month. If there was a conviction trade, did you trade it appropriately? If not, why not? And the same on your tilt, investigate it deeply. So, because by doing that, you start repaving, so I'm using a little bit, I'm trying to be fancy, repaving the neural pathways. Was this all you want to do? They talk about, there's so many modern day techniques now to kind of re-engineer your brain. Don't go to the extreme, to the Amazon basin and do some ayahuasca, or to West African ibogaine. But, because there you might just lose yourself completely. You never come back on a trading pool because, man, my ego's disappeared. But if you want to, start investing in yourself and kind of really try to start discovering of how I can reprogram my response mechanism to when I'm faced a certain situation. So dissecting the loss habit and provide powerful vaccine to increase performance immunity. I enjoy that. But let's look at dissecting the loss habit, because a lot of the stuff that we do is habitual, and that's why we keep on repeating it. And unless we go and fully try and bring awareness to it, we'll repeat it again, because we always repeat things unconsciously. So this is what I want us to move. If I want to get to a stage, and I say Tom, I say Farouk, I say Roy, I say Mr. Morris. You repeated this mistake last week. Why the fuck are you repeating it again? You never addressed it on the weekend. You haven't found a technique to not repeat that bloody mistake again. And this is, Josh Waitzkin talks. He says that Gail Goss, that New York, that Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy from who's the world's best for 10 years running or something like that. He says the reason why he's gone to the top of his field because he repeats his mistakes. He does not repeat a mistake more than once. He repeats again, and Demetris is very much like that. The moment he repeats a mistake, he somehow creates pain in himself It's so painful, he's almost like dying, that he can't allow himself to feel that feeling again. So he creates this feeling in himself that he's at the depths of his despair, that he wants to unfortunately jump out the window, but then he just does not repeat that mistake again, you know? Because what you want to do is you want to rewire your response mechanism. Does that make sense? You want to rewire how you respond to something so you don't repeat it again. And I can tell you that's what I did. I used to think, shit, I want to eat, and everyone knows the story. I want to eat lentils and rice for a 3rd month running now, you know. And so that's all. Or I can't keep on staying in this room that my feet don't even fit. That's how I lived in London in the beginning of my career. I literally was too tall for the room, and my foot was out the door, you know. And there's always a draft coming, so I couldn't even close the door, and it would stretch. And it's the same thing. You think of things that aren't giving you focus on the task at hand. So rewiring, and what are the tools? Well, I mean, we've got a modern day, since 2013, some of our top traders are massive users of these tools. And I can tell you many of our modern day freaking millennial traders who have made it, they're not millennially hooked on all these swiping apps and getting distracted by the phone, but they're actually hooked on things to build greater self-awareness in themselves. So, they visualize what they would actually like to respond the next time they're in that situation. They re-visualize because, your brain can't distinguish between the imagination and the reality. If any of you want to go into kind of, I'll keep that for another time. But what you're trying to do, you're trying to recreate a positive response mechanism to something that you keep on repeating. And so this is, the top traders just don't repeat that same mistake twice.
If you find this video interesting, if you want to go deep into the Axia training method and how our trading team of 7-figure traders develop setups and strategies and how they learn to build the most profitable trades across all market environments, then join me in this workshop. Now in this workshop, you're going to learn 3 powerful steps we use to train all our traders on both our London and our Poland trading desks to help build incredible levels of consistency. You're going to learn our 2 main strategies for how we perfect our trade timing before we enter every single trade, how to avoid those large losses, and our main method we use to identify them that saves our traders significant amounts of capital. Finally, you will learn how our traders use the power of network learning to find market patterns quicker than ever before, so you shortcut that learning curve. In the workshop, we want to program your awareness of elite performance, to program your ability to choose the right setups, and program your ability to be a consistent trader. And I can tell you this, you'll never see the markets the same again. You'll never look at the markets with a narrow view of getting lost in all the noise and confusion. You'll take your first step towards a deep edge market awareness. I cannot wait for you to join me in this workshop. And I think you're in for a massive paradigm shift in your understanding of how to develop as a trader. So join me by clicking on the top right-hand corner of the screen and sign up for this powerful training workshop, or visit elitetraderworkshop.com.